we're going to be battling it out on Inferno, in fact. Almost said Overpass there. Inferno for this best of one. Really exciting stuff, Squid.
Yeah, this certainly is. I think both teams certainly confident on Inferno. forZe, it's one of their better maps. They seemingly play it in every single best of three, either as their primary pick or their secondary pick. It's one that they will float into all three maps and getting right into the pistol.
Oh, kicking things off. Heavy presence over towards Banana thus far. A little bit of utility on two of these men as well, and C-Power and Jerry's hands. They start to creep up further.
This is where you have to be very careful about walking into a stack. forZe have very little presence elsewhere. They have no idea that they're about to walk into 3 Endpoint members over towards this B-bomb site. You see the young gun himself, Flames, holstering that USPS, looking for some headshots here on the opening as forZe roll their way through with these Glocks, getting up close and personal. There's the crossfire established and Flames finally taken care of. They've spotted Surreal in the meantime, who also suddenly falls, leaving just Robin, just Crucial in this 1 versus 2. A couple of fast, flashy frags piped in at the 45-second mark as FaceCrack needs to bring this back. Banana control, CT, totally under wraps from Endpoint as the bomb is dropped in the open. FaceCrack has to get in, salvage this straight towards the B bomb site for this C4 to go down, and it's going to be oh so difficult to get the job done with Robin piping in for more aggression. FaceCrack needs to be very careful as his HP slips down to just a mere 32. Needing the headshots right now, swings through, and Robin's able to find him. That's a great round from Endpoint.
Absolutely is. That initial 3-man stack towards the B side didn't pay all too much dividends, but Crucial picking up the pieces from that CT spawn absolutely flawlessly. 2 beautiful headshots, really swings that round in Endpoint's favor and makes sure that they can close it out. Going into the second now, a pretty lackluster investment from forZe, but a full one at that. Pistols and a single MAC-10 in the hands of FaceCrack as they play a very slow round once again. Stacked up towards this A ramp. Fair amount of utility on all of these men. They need to land these headshots, though. Of course, those Deagles have certainly been formidable in the past for a team with such raw aim on many of these players, especially in the hands of Flit and FaceCrack.
Remember that Endpoint only go for the single M4 right now as well. That's on Crucial towards this A bomb site.
They've actually got quite a heavy stack towards this A-bomb site as well. With Robin jump spotting towards Banana, they've got all of this info in the world. That deep smoke means that they can maintain that control. They can afford to expend that man in the form of Flames. As this bomb starts to creep its way up mid, they could actually walk straight into this Endpoint stack. But if Flick can connect this shot onto Robin, maybe that opens up an opportunity, and Robin doesn't want to take his chances anymore. He's going to throw that flash full right back. Crucial's just spotted the barrel of Almaze that deals some damage but can't find the kill. And forZe are running out of time here. 40 seconds on this clock. Now they're going to start to reconvene and head towards this B site.
Where Flames and Robin are waiting to receive this aggression. Robin pipes in with that initial smoke grenade to receive the push of forZe, and with this clock ticking incredibly low, I think forZe actually just have to push right through this one, and Robin's going to find one completely blind. That's actually sensational. The incendiary grenade goes through as well for Flames to do even more damage against these pistols. forZe no chance, bomb in the open, and C-Power, he's the next to fall, not without finding the single frag. Very little damage dealt.
And look at the bank accounts. $5,000 apiece in the hands of Robin and Flames, racking up all those kills with those MP9s, and that just shows how dangerous it can be when the time pressure's mounting, the smoke's down, you can play up close and personal, and you can really punish your opponents. That's going to put forZe right down to an eco here. They've actually gone for the Deagles. It's not a full eco, but they'll certainly save enough cash to buy into the next. No utility. Once again, we see a similar slow default that they go for. They stack up these players towards the bottom and middle, try and feel around, see if they can spot anyone getting aggressive towards mid or Banana. And then they start to try and prod, find themselves that opener. They're getting very close to the top mid, but it's not going to be Almazer to find the first kill. Instead, it's going to be Crucial.
looking for any little damage here. Just a kill or so is a bonus, especially if they are able to drop an M4, but barely doing any points of damage. Surreal's the only player to even get tagged, and that's only to 98. 3-0 Endpoint, establishing a fine lead.
They absolutely are. It's as to be expected. Once you take that pistol, you're certainly favoured to put it up 3-0. Now they have to face against the big guns, though. forZe, of course, pulled out this AWP on C-Power. One of the strongest AWPers. In fact, probably the strongest AWPer on this server. Very, very dangerous man with that weapon in his hands. And now a little bit more aggression. The B control wants to be taken early, but Endpoint are contesting it. 3 men of their own towards that side of the map, and tons of utility expended. The MP9 spraying away through the smoke, dealing some damage. Not quite enough, though. Now they throw this deep smoke, the Molotov goes through, and maybe this is where they start to take more control, and that's Flames to find the first.
They need to backtrack right now, of course, with the MP9 in hand. You want to get aggressive, salvage that M4, and maybe fall away to this B-bomb site with forZe. Full banana control, at least the bottom of banana. As that smoke dissipates, Flames is going to get an angle right through it. Fading away at the minute mark.
He's had to fall right back. No rotations have been drawn yet either. I think this is crucial, starting to make that marathon of a leap towards that B site, and he is going to be get there just in the nick of time by the looks of things. The bomb, of course, been left at the bottom of banana, though. They're still not committed to anything just yet. They have that control. They know what to do with it, but they also know that it's a 4 versus 4 right now. At the very best, Endpoint have got a 2-2 setup. Maybe they get unlucky and walk into this stack on the A site. That might just be the case.
Flit up inside of apartments is going to be the first man to try and receive any contact, and just spots out crucial ever so slightly. There are still 3 players guarding the stronghold of this A bomb site, and forZe only have 7 seconds left to make this one work. Completely out of time, and surely this bomb is certainly not going to go down, leaving only Flit to fall before the clock expires. 4-0 Endpoint.
There's a little bit of a recurring theme here for forZe. They keep running down this clock real low, and it keeps costing them. That certainly could have gone their way, but with 7 seconds left on that clock, they absolutely have to dart onto the site, try and go for that bomb plant straight away, and all Mighty Max has to do is stay alive, and he actually manages to bring 2 to the grave with him. So really fantastic stuff there from Endpoint, but it was gifted to them on a silver platter. They really didn't have to do a whole lot other than stay alive there.
Yeah, amazing round from Endpoint, and forZe shouldn't really be able to put too much investment into this 5th. You see, initially C-Power just picking up a deagle. forZe probably with only upgraded pistols, wanting to play the long game here. 4-0 as they do eat a quick tactical timeout. Exactly what we'd be expecting at this point in the game. Remember, this is only a best of 1. You don't have 3 maps to flex your muscles.
That makes it all the more scary. Of course, these best of 1s, often unpredictable. We have seen in previous results, we've seen these 2 teams actually play against each other tons and tons of times. They both playing an MDL together, both been playing a wealth of online CS. And in those matchups, we see Endpoint take the win ever so slightly more often. Not normally in this best of 1 format, though. And taking an early 4-0 lead is, well, puts you at a huge advantage, especially considering they should be able to extend it to 5 here just against the pistols.
I think that's what makes this matchup even more interesting. They've played each other a total of 14 times. As you mentioned, Josh, Endpoint winning ever so slightly more. That's exactly why. Bit of banana control, finding that first pick. Balmazer didn't know what hit him through that smoke, and Endpoint can now recede towards the B bomb site and play with the power of these rifles at range.
Huge range advantage, of course, and with those smokes down as well, gives them tons and tons of leg room to work with. forZe, I don't think they've really got a game plan here. There's someone waiting for this smoke to dissipate. They want to try and get a flash in, regain this banana control, but with Robin still up close with that M4, now he starts to fall away. The smoke goes down, and he can just get into this crossfire with his teammate.
They should be easily contained by Flames, and through that smoke, he's able to find a blind Jerry. Allows the pistols to creep a little closer as the smoke blooms. But forZe still an arm's length away from the B bomb site with Robin, 3 other players just submerging this site, and Endpoint once again don't lose a single member.
That allows them to build up this bank even further. Flame sitting above the 10k mark. This is a very, very strong start. You really couldn't ask for more if you're this UK side. And forZe, I mean, this is where you start to panic a little bit. 2 of your big fraggers, Jerry and Almeza right now currently sitting on 0 kills. Not the start they would have hoped for.
forZe don't want to give up on this B bomb site. You see them forcing the aggression this time. It works. For the first time, 2 quick kills. Robin only containing the first. Means forZe can push the brakes. They don't need to submerge straight into B right off the bat with the in-game leader, Mighty Max, finally rotating through. But it seems like Almeza wants a little bit more with his AK-47. Robin's going to step on through, find a 1-for-1 trade. Yes, Max is here to receive.
Super important there that Robin made a play, and he did exactly that. 2 kills found, makes it doable for his teammates, and it's Mighty Max and Surreal to try and get the job done. Both with the M4s and CT spawn creeping in closer as these smokes start to dissipate. And with the Molotov raining in as well, that's going to force the AWP out of position and allow the headshot for Mighty Max. Unable to get himself any more, though, as Flit trades it, and it leaves a very difficult task on Surreal's hands. Does get himself the first, but that initiates the peak from Flit, and he's able to finish things off. Very, very close round coming down to that 1 versus 1, but it does go forZe's favor, and it is their first round of the map taken.
So important for forZe to put a round on the board right there, and it's all off the back of that initial speed, finding those first 2 kills. You see Almeza, Jerry getting nice and aggressive there on Banana, and Endpoint just cannot control that pace. This time they hope to change it up with the AWP in the hands of Crucial. He'll be sending it towards the middle of the map with 3 on B. A pretty standard defense as far as Endpoint is concerned. They love this 2-to-3 split. Now rotating Mighty Max away to A. After they get that initial information, forZe not really giving away a lot of info in the first 30 seconds of the round, just taking mid control and looking to face this AWP of Crucial.
You really don't want to be facing into that AWP of Crucial. Very, very dangerous man to have it in his hands. He does start to fall back, though, and that is going to allow forZe to take this bracket's control, even wrap around to long if they want it, if they get the timing right. Of course, Robin is on his way round. They seem to have a tingling feeling that forZe may be close. forZe are still undecisive. They've got a minute left on this clock, and they're going to play with it.
This is where things get a little more tough and tricky for forZe. Time ticking away and not gifted or granted a single frag in the first minute of the round. C-Power ever so patient, ever so present, watching this angle for anybody to swing. But you see the passive line for Endpoint. They're not moving anything or anywhere, and with a bunch of utilities still in hand, they should be able to hold forZe at bay. If Almeza has nothing to say about it, the kills coming through, but within the pit, the rotate coming in. Endpoint are running out of members. No defense on this A bomb site. C4 down and away. This will be a second for forZe.
A real good save call there from Endpoint as well. They have no offensive utility to clear out these players. If they had a couple more Molotovs, maybe a HE in hand, they can try and retake this bomb site, but there's really no chance of it. Bring that AWP into the next. Of course, Crucial won't be able to afford another if he loses it, and have another crack at it in round number 8. A very nice response there from forZe. When we saw them 5-0 down, you start to panic a little. And they've certainly shown us really what they're capable of, and keeping another 4 guys alive in this one. Minimal reinvestments needed in the next. Certainly going to work wonders for the bank account.
And a lot of these Endpoint forZe series have went incredibly close. We see 2 bouts of overtime in the last couple of matches. Lots of 3 mappers when we get into the best of 3s. Remember, we'll see Inferno and only Inferno here in this first series of the day. With Endpoint taking this narrow lead, they've still got money in hand predicated off of those 3 saves. Crucial still with that all-important AWP. And forZe, obviously their money hasn't had a massive opportunity to build up yet going into round 8. See what they can do with it.
Wow, big guns all round, utility on all, and Flip right now. He's the man that's trying to get into second middle, wants to take himself an early engagement whilst his teammates hang around mid, want to try and find some aggression, catch it out. For now, though, just these secondary smokes going on deep banana, and Endpoint maintaining this early control very well.
And nothing's coming from Endpoint. They're not swinging into mid. They're not making any of these all-important key mistakes that can give away a bomb site to a team like forZe. A patient team, ready and waiting to receive that aggression. As they set the talons towards the safe bomb site. Crucial. This is the first shot. That leaves Surreal up for grabs. And with him falling, the A defense looking more and more flimsy and crucial. Oh no, he's missed a second shot. He's robbing, clutching at straws, and there's just no way to make the magic happen. Mighty Max, that's a nice effort with 2 kills, but just cannot stand up to the pressure.
These flawless flashbangs pushing Endpoint right back, and there's absolutely nothing they can do. Flames left to save this M4, and I'm not sure they'll be able to invest a whole lot around it in the next as well. It really shows how quickly a great big bank can die down when forZe are coming at you with full force.
And exactly, Endpoint just unable to pick up the full buy in the next. It really does feel like forZe are controlling the pace of this T side quite nicely. The calm before the storm, before that initial burst comes through, and Endpoint can't contain it.
I'd like to see Endpoint recover this one. Maybe have that M4, buy a couple of pistols around it, but save enough money that they'll be able to buy in the follow-ups. Don't allow forZe too many rounds on this T side. Obviously, Endpoint have had some really, really fantastic results recently, and this would be another one to add to the trophy cabinet. Push their run further here in the Beijing qualifiers. This is exactly what we're seeing here. Just some pistols, a little bit of Kevlar on Robin, but that is going to be all. Plenty of cash in the bank to buy it up in the next. And they're just going to go for this standard 3-2 setup.
Yeah, those results, very impressive. Most notably, qualifying for DreamHack Open Fall with a 2-1 win against Mousesports. As soon as you're taking down one of those top 10 teams in a best of 3, you're always going to be proud of yourselves. Flames, that young gun, he's the first to drop over by Banana. Leaves Robin in a bit of a sticky scenario.
Not for much longer as his teammates have started to rotate over, and Endpoint have actually gone for a little bit of a gamble stack here towards this B side. They've boosted up Crucial, Surreal's going to wrap around and play from the coffins, and they're just going to keep their fingers crossed that forZe fall into their trap. And for now, it's looking like that might just be the case. A 4 versus 4 situation, and forZe, yeah, they're going for this. The smokes rain over. Let's just see if these Deagles can connect these shots.
Surreal's going to be the first man to try and receive this target, and as the AWP only nails a leg, Endpoint, they still have 3 players ready and waiting, one of which being Crucial. There come the nades. Fast frags inwards, the CZ75 able to poke, leaving Robin clutching at straws to try and find face crack on this bomb site, which he's able to do. 6-3, Endpoint back on the board.
What a round to win. forZe, they walk straight into the triangle of death, and you're going to get punished if you do so. Most notably in that round, Mighty Max. That was absolutely incredible. To push through that smoke, find that initial kill with the CZ onto the AWPer, and then actually just before you fall as well, when they go for that double peek to drag one more down with you, puts Robin in a position where he can clutch it up, and now they're back in this, but oh my, what an opening shot from C-Power.
That certainly is something stunning. It leaves Surreal all on his lonesome towards the pointy letter. Looking to throw this smoke grenade any second. forZe now closing in. He's got a nice gap through that one. Probably needs to move position after he finds the first. Getting sprayed away by the AK-47s. forZe, they've got bags of time on the clock. But their players, they're crumbling, they're falling. Now into a 2 versus 2 scenario with Flames up close and personal. He spots out C-Power. Able to blast him right out of the server, only leaving Flip from within pit, and Flames can take him away as well. A 7th for Endpoint, as that was just such a perfect round.
Really was. Rather an awkward one there from Flames as he spotted out the planter. Could have maybe denied it before the bomb went down, but had a nade in hand. Nonetheless, very, very nice recovery. And currently Flames is sitting 13-4. He is leading the server, and he is super, super confident in doing so. Endpoint, yeah, they've recovered from this very, very well, only allowing forZe to string together 3 before they're back full force on the gas pedal. Very, very nice stuff.
This does seem much speedier. Jerry's already towards the top of Banana, pressuring upon this triple stacked B bomb site for Endpoint. Remember, they've got tons of utility, tons of time to work with, being very early in round number 11. But Endpoint have loads of players, with the first to fall being Robin. That was a bit of an overswing. Flames taking a diversion. Flawless flash. Leaves only Flames to try and take the firefight here. He's missing everything. All 30 bullets whiffed. Only finding that one frag in response. Leaving forZe not a lot of HP left to fight this retake. But as the aft plant comes through, Endpoint still trying to take this to task with two. Crucial, Surreal, sitting behind these dissipating smokes. Remember, no defensive utility for forZe to hold back the CT forces. Surreal's the first to poke in. Unfortunate on the angle, leaving the AWP on his lonesome. It's Crucial. He feels like he's always on his Larry here by the B bomb site. He has to fall away and keep the sniper in hand. But FaceCrack's not going to allow him to do so. 7-4.
I thought the lack of Kevlar there on some of those forZe players would prove problematic, but they react to it with these fantastic off angles, and it means that Endpoint just couldn't get the job done. Very, very nice stuff from forZe there. Puts their fourth on the board, and forces Endpoint once again down to a really, really shaky buy. So real opportunity here for forZe to close this gap, as now they've got the AWP in the hands of C-Power, AKs all round, and they go for this early B banana control once again.
It seems to be a classic for forZe, just submerging this side of the map, being quite a pressure point for them. And as the smokes are placed, Flames finally looking to edge around it, but forZe's ready to receive.
A nice opening pick, leaves it all down to Robin on this B site. He's to land himself some 1Ds, and he's only good for one of them. That's going to open up the site for forZe right now, and they can just walk straight in. I don't even think they'll... I don't even think they'll have a retake on their hands.
Absolutely
Endpoint.
not.
Yeah, they're just going to save what they've got here. It's not a whole lot. Maybe Mighty Max will try and chime in, do a little bit of damage. Maybe they want some retake weapons. Really not worth throwing this away, though.
No, I think most importantly is Endpoint have spent the excess of their bank accounts, what little they had coming into this one, into a couple of Deagles, that SMG, the MP9 for Crucial, and a couple of weapons towards that B bomb site, which did go to waste. forZe with a fifth. This isn't a perfect T side by any means. I think you are looking to take 6, 7, or 8. That's still on the cards here for the Ts.
It definitely is. And these last few rounds from forZe definitely show that they're able to. We saw in the first 5, they were lacking. We saw a couple of players still on that 0 kill point. Endpoint were just looking a whole lot stronger. Now forZe really, really showing us that they are turning up to this one. They're here to win, of course.
This should certainly just be a fairly full eco for Endpoint as well. They want the full buy going into the penultimate round of the half. Only a couple of nades as well carried through. More importantly, double Deagle, that MP9 for Crucial. Pretty much the same weaponry they were able to take out of round number 12. And forZe might be going for what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Straight towards their favorite, the B bomb site. But only 2 players are holding, and unfortunately for Endpoint, it's these 2 unarmored players. Flames just on top of that boost.
This is going to be a near impossible one to hold up if forZe do go for this one, but notably they've left the bomb behind. So even if they do find these kills, they've got to give up the control they've taken, but it shouldn't matter all too much. They're not against all too much firepower here, and it's going to be Flit to find those initial 2 on the A side. It does get traded, but these USBs aren't going to be able to do anything on this B side of the map. And yeah, this is going to be a very, very comfortable round for forZe. Of course, as I say, they have got to run all the way back and get this bomb. A little bit of a mistake for them to have left it behind. But it shouldn't matter all too much. Surreal can just grab this AK, more than likely bring it into the next.
Yeah, as soon as you find that 1 kill's worth of damage, you can call it a successful round, if you will. Of course, Endpoint did carry a couple of Deagles and a couple of sets of Kevlar as well into this 13th. I think it was pretty much forZe's round to lose at this point. The bomb goes down, that secures their deal. And Surreal will be looking to save this AK-47, as I assume forZe will start to hunt.
You'd certainly think so. They're not showing any signs of doing so just yet. You would have expected Surreal to show his face earlier on when forZe actually had to go back for that C4. Maybe they do want to hold on to this cash. There's a couple of rounds left of this half. They want to make sure they've got a full buy in both of them. This is interesting, though. I absolutely would have expected them to be hunting harder, too.
Does feel like a big change of pace here in this first half from forZe. Nicely salvaging that lead bomb site, maybe deciphering a little bit of an endpoint weakness towards that side of the map. Of course, not getting very aggressive for that AK-47 there, but this will be a full buy for both teams going into the penultimate round of the half. Those rifles come out. The distinct lack of an AWP for Crucial, who hasn't really been the most successful member. Only 5 kills here in this first half, bottoming off the scoreboard of this endpoint side.
Round number 14. This is the time where Endpoint could pull away and take it to 9, but they need to win this one. And a really super aggressive start from Flames to just peek banana, spray as many shots as he can. He only finds himself 1 kill, but actually does loads of damage onto Jerry as well. So a pretty successful start there from Endpoint. Really applies some pressure on a part of the map that they've been struggling to hold on to. It leaves it all down to Robin, though. So if forZe do up the pace here and push into this B site, it's going to be a tall order on his hands, and this is where he starts to call in the reinforcements.
Almeza is going to be the first man in to receive. He's sliding his way through. Robin is there to find the first with the AWP missing. It gives Jerry an opportunity to salvage that bomb, try and take away Robin. That's his 12th kill of this half, being really just that solo B-site anchor. This is looking like a done deal for forZe, leaving just Jerry and Flick towards the other side of the map. Jerry wants to hold on to this angle. Let's see what Flick can open up. Offering a consistent start. There's a headshot to start things off, but cannot convert the second, and that's pretty much the round over, considering Jerry, just 17 HP to his name, wants to grab hold of that C4, and maybe this rotate might merit him a plant.
Oh no, this is a big mistake for Crucial to actually be rotating over. He should be able to get onto this A site as long as he walks through short. Might get it in just in time. Of course, Crucial is low HP here as well, so this is a pretty fair gunfight. If Jerry takes it, maybe gets himself a nice after-plant position, it's definitely doable. 5 seconds left on the clock, though. He has to go for this plant right here, right now. Gets it in just in the nick of time. And he's certainly been gifted more than he should have been. Now he's coming in on the bomb site, though. The pincer comes through from Endpoint, and the timing has to be impeccable. So far, it's looking that way. He's managed to get himself into short. And Endpoint closing in. They're just playing Ring of Roses right now.
Unfortunately, 1 bullet would take him away. They have no idea that Jerry snuck in right behind. He's got a perfect angle. I'm sure that Endpoint will have no idea about this one. Robin, oh, he's got the angle completely under wraps. There's the defuse as well. And somehow Endpoint saved it there. That certainly got dodgy for a moment.
It definitely did. The thing was there is if Jerry had a couple more seconds, then it could have become doable. But he had to wrap all the way around. As soon as he had that smoke and that defuse coming in, he knew it wasn't really planted for him. He had to make the sound cues to try and prevent it, and that was his downfall. Endpoint now on to 8. As I said before, they could put this 9-6. That would be a pretty fantastic half to kick them off. forZe, they want to make sure that doesn't happen. They want to take this 7th, but once again, going for this early banana presence means that they take a fair amount of nade damage to kick things off.
Almeza is going to pour right on through, received by Robin, and Flames is there to take the shot as well. Loads of damage dealt through those pair of smokes, and our Endpoint can take their prize back to the B-bomb site.
You couldn't ask for a better start here. Not a single point of damage taken, and absolutely tons dealt. FaceCrack sitting on 6 points of health, and his 2 teammates to try and back him up as they're still pressing forward for this B site. But now they don't have the firepower to work with. Still 2 defenders, a smoke in hand as well. As soon as they have that info, they're going to deploy it. But what a nice headshot from C-Power to open up the door. Now they can try and walk straight through it as they only need to find themselves 1 more kill to secure this bomb site. But this is where Mighty Max starts to rotate through. And with the flash going up, it allows Robin an opportunity, but he has been spotted out. C-Power needs to land this shot through the smoke, and he can't quite connect it. Spamming away with the P250, does still find it, but valuable seconds wasted. And now Endpoint are ready to try and retake this one. again, and it's Mighty Max to finish it off. Endpoint take the half 9-6. A very, very messy final round towards the end there, but they do recover it nicely.
Creating chaos on that B bomb site is exactly what forZe need to do, and well, it just doesn't work out that time. Only 6 rounds for their T side. It's unfortunate. As they go through to that second half, I think a pistol needed here for forZe. If they can take it, maybe get up to 7, 8, 9. And for Endpoint, it's just time to close. What tactic does Mighty Max have in store? Is it going to be an abusive setup towards the B bomb site once again? We saw it before, just very commonly from Endpoint there. We'll go to a very short break. We'll be back. Second half coming up right after this. Gentlemen, second half going live right now. forZe, Endpoint. They're here on Inferno, getting us kicking off. 9-6 for Endpoint. A very successful CT side. They've got to do it all over again as they sit one away from double digits.
forZe really want to close this gap that's been established by Endpoint, but look at this early start. They head over towards second mid. They're taking these engagements. Utility on Mighty Max as well as they press further. But if they do commit to this A-bomb site, they're going to be met by 4 angry CTs stacked up.
This is where things get incredibly difficult. Touch and go for forZe. They've got 4 players over towards the pointy letter. Should be good enough to receive this aggression, but you never know. The Glocks can certainly throw a spanner in the works, especially with Surreal taking the fight first. He's up front of this Endpoint pack, and with a very low HP flit, he gets his head ripped off. Surreal coming in for even more, but only flames left after the initial engagements. He needs to salvage that C4, hold away Face Crack, who's snuck inside the boiler room. 50 seconds left, and this is where Flames comes into his own in the 1 versus 2. The cross spotted, but the CZ cannot connect at long range. As Flames finds an opening towards this B bomb site, he scurries away. Should be the C4 down here, Josh.
And every second that forZe wait there for him to go for a repeat is a second that Flames can run over towards this B site, get this C4 down and establish an afterplant position. That's exactly what he's doing. A 2 versus 1, but a very doable one at that. He's managed to wrap his way round to the coffins. Jerry, he's going to be that first point of engagement with this CZ in hand, but there's so many angles to clear. They're making so much noise, and Flames can play around it. He wraps around this corner area, deals tons of damage as well, and with that bomb planted out in the open, he can continue to play around it, but it's not going to happen. Face Crack lands that final headshot needed. A few whiffs there from Flames doesn't do him any favors, and I think they've got this one just in time. They will be able to put the pistol down in their favor.
Certainly. Flames absolutely had to isolate the 1v1 Angels. Just so hard to do when you're playing against such a coordinated team like forZe. They're not going to give you an opening in any of those rounds. A 7th, that's the all-important secondary pistol we were talking about. Allows a bunch of SMGs first for the CT side. Endpoint going for, quite a funky force buy. Obviously, with that bomb down, gives you a little bit more money to work with. As a response, it's juggling around a couple of Galils, that AK-47 in hand. And, well, you see, full rifles for Endpoint despite losing that round.
This is a really strong buy from them. Of course, Flames managing to get away and get that bomb plant down gives them loads of extra cash to work with. But it doesn't take away from the fact that FaceCrack's just managed to find himself the initial kill in this round onto the fragger of Flames, just with that grenade through that smoke. And that's gained them that banana control, and Endpoint now have to try and push in for this A site.
And with FaceCrack to receive the angle, it's 3 fast frags, only Surreal left. It all comes tumbling down for Endpoint, as another mighty clutch is needed from Surreal. Lots of time to play with. forZe rotating all over this map, but this one could be very said and done. Expect this gap to close up. And forZe thus far surviving with 4, now 3 players alive. Surreal not taking a lot of damage in that engagement. Leaves him looking for Flit. Headshot angle established. Lots of damage dealt onto Surreal, and there's Flit to finish. Galil on the ground to pick up. Good, confident round from forZe.
Oh, it was quite nicely played from Surreal towards the end there, but 4 men are far too many to find. And now forZe, they are just going to be up against an eco. They should be able to put themselves onto 9 here, close this gap, level out the scoreline. And as we go into the third of the half, they've got reasonable investment behind them. 3 MP9s, couple of rifles, all the utility in the world to work with as well. And C-Power getting super aggressive with this MP9 should be able to completely clean things up. He is only good for 2, but Flit's there to pick up the pieces, and Robin's not going to be able to do a whole lot with this P250. So, yeah, a really nice clean round from forZe there. They take 2 casualties, but they build up that bank with the $600 kill reward from those SMG frags, and now they sit level pegging.
And despite such a dominant start from Endpoint, we find ourselves at 9-9. This was always going to be a close match, but forZe, with a nice little mini comeback to get us started here on Inferno, they certainly want to get into the best of 3 stage later tonight.
They absolutely do, and this is their launchpad to get there. It's been very, very close so far. In fact, couldn't be closer as we go into this second portion of the game. But with Surreal finding that opener, a little bit of a mistake from Flit there to try and peek that window with no support player. Always potential that he could get punished from the stairs, and this has actually completely opened up the A-bomb site. C-Power just with that knows he can't go for the peak alone. He needs a support flash, maybe even a player there to swing with him. With this site being given up, I think they actually just go for the save call here. It's looking like C-Power and FaceCrack want to try and catch out an exit, perhaps. But with no rotation coming through, they want to bring these rifles into the next. A smart call, but it, of course, allows Endpoint to start putting some rounds on the board here in the second half.
I think this is incredibly smart from forZe. Just back up, no reason to risk these 4 rifles. Let Endpoint get away with all 5 of these AK-47s alive. That is a bit of a danger. It will allow this Endpoint economy to build up. You see, obviously, very early days here in this second half. Nobody with all too much cash yet, but double digits there for Endpoint. Long time coming.
It really has been. Could have happened if they'd taken that pistol round that narrowly didn't go their favor. Now we see a pause come through. This is where, well, assuming it's of a tactical nature, you might start seeing these pauses crop up. This is where it starts to get dangerous.
Absolutely. Endpoint, all of those AK-47s retained. Bit of money in their banks. That's preliminary money as well. After that full investment comes through, you see all of that utility there for Endpoint picked up. They've got a full stack. Whereas forZe, they can equally match that. All of the incendiary grenades to work with going into round number 20.
The scary factor is C-Power on that AWP. On a map like Inferno as well, that range can really, really deal some damage. Nice early damage, though, from those grenades, of course, to get him down to 60. Really eliminate.
Both of these teams have vied for map control towards Banana at every single point, and as you just mentioned, C-Power, he finds that first pickup.
That's going to force Endpoint right away, but forZe know what's up. They obviously went for 3 men early on towards B, and straight off of the back of that pick, they're actually rotated all of their cavalry. They stack up on this A-bomb site. They have to try and hold this one up. It's going to be a complete bloodbath with a minute 10 left on this clock. Endpoint want to try and take this control, and with the secondary smoke going up from Flit, should be able to take this first man, but it's actually going to go in Crucial's favor.
FaceCrack there, receiving the angle, but Endpoint coming out on top with Crucial, Surreal, both finding pickups. forZe prized away from A. I really don't think they've got much of a chance of getting back onto this one. Jerry's already bailed over towards the B bomb site with the M4A4 in hand, and C-Power might just follow suit. That'll be an 11th for Endpoint.
forZe saving these 2 rifles actually means that they will be able to invest into the next. If you look at C-Power, Almeza, and Jerry's money right now, they can drop rifles over to the 2 men that don't have the cash, and then they can have the weapons themselves as well. So there will be another investment here from forZe going into this next round, but Endpoint, they've looked really strong in the last 2, and this is really their ticket back in. As they get closer and closer to that magic number 16, this is where forZe need to start winning the rounds rather than worrying too much about how much money they've got behind them.
Yeah, certainly. You've got that seesaw, that balance where obviously you want that AWP in C-Power's hand. It's a costly $5,000+ investment. But They are hemorrhaging rounds at this point on the CT side. As soon as Endpoint get rifles in hand, it feels like they're taking control of this T side.
It really is interesting to see as well. Crucial not going for that AWP, despite the fact he's got 8k behind him. Maybe just not feeling too confident on it. We saw him on the CT side, not connecting a lot of his shots. Maybe he does just want to drop down to that rifle, but here in round number 21, they've left that bomb over towards the ramp, and they're trying to take this banana control. 2 men over towards our apartments as well. They want to do the same over there.
Both of these teams have actually been playing 3 players towards B for the majority of the time, and you see Endpoint definitely not rigid on this B take. With the bomb still in T-spawn, just outside, A is certainly an option.
It absolutely is. And for a CT side, you really don't want to be going for these retakes. Such long rotations, the quicker you can get the reinforcements to the appropriate area, the better. Because if you lose a bomb site and the defense is still right on the other side of the map, it takes them far too long to wrap around. But this is very much looking like A is going to be Endpoint's end game. With Almazer coming in from behind, this is where it starts to get scary and the time pressure starts to mount. With Jerry picking away one more, this is where it all starts to fall apart. They haven't got any time or any opportunity left to get onto this A site. It's been completely shut away. And Robin, all of a sudden, his teammates have just fallen all around him. There's nothing left he can do than fall back. And Almazer's there to punish him for doing so.
That's a perfect round there from forZe. They have all 5 bodies towards the A site before the push comes through from Endpoint. You see Robin trying to scramble away. He's unable to do so. A complete whitewash. That economy that Endpoint had built up now, not quite gone to the dogs, but certainly riding low at this point. Crucial. Back with the AWP. This is a big investment for the Brits. 10-11 forZe. That was an all-important round. Now they've got to do it again to bring the scoreline to evens.
Flames taking a lot of damage there from that initial utility and then even falling to Jerry. Surreal with the jump spot does CC power. And he's going to be able to run through those flames to take him out. So even trading so far. But once again, Almazer with that deep smoke, he's able to take this banana control. Instead, he actually just grabs the AK, falls right back. What the hell is that? A perfect read through the smoke to find Mighty Max. Gives them the man advantage once again, but it's a bit of a false shepherd. Endpoint are actually trying to get over towards this A site with Robin finding that first pick. This might open a door for them.
AWP needs to connect with this shot. Instead, it's Surreal to bring them into a 1 versus 2. As Almazer, he's got quite an incognito angle through the apartments. Crucial, Surreal, both on this A site. As the AK-47 wants to wrap in right now. Lots of offensive utility, primarily being this incendiary grenade to toss in if needed. It feels like Endpoint know that this one's coming through, but Almazer, initial information and a perfect headshot. Surreal, he's there to receive.
Perfect position in there from Surreal. Never going to lose when you've got your head tucked down in Graveyard. And this is where the rounds really start to count. They put their 12th on the board. forZe just about enough cash behind them to invest into this one as well. It's going to mean that FaceCrack is down to only an MP9, but full utility on everyone else. The AWP in C-Power's hands once again. And this is where we actually see Crucial go for that investment. He wants to try and go for the Battle of the Titans. See if he can win that engagement against C-Power, who actually gets smoked off initially, so he can't go for that early pick towards Banana.
That's one of the big jewels here in this specific matchup when they've played the last 14 times. That C-Power Crucial on the AWP. Remember, previously it would have been Thomas on that sniper rifle a lot of the time. Since Flames has stepped into the mix, that was his replacement. We see another new look Endpoint. These two specific rosters actually haven't played each other as far as HLTV is concerned. Of course, we do see lots and lots of changes. Not really from Endpoint. This roster has been stable since January 2020. forZe, they're actually predating them back to September 2018 when Flit was brought into the pack.
That shows they've got a hell of a lot of experience as a roster. And that certainly comes into play in matches like this. 40 seconds left on this clock. Endpoint do want to try and get this flag planted down on a bomb site. And it's looking like it's going to be the pointy letter that they go for. 4 men stacked up towards short. In fact, 3 stacked up towards short, 1 in the apartments. And as the smoke goes in, this is where the engagements start to happen as they swarm it. There's only 2 CTs to hold it up. No kills found just as of yet. And as Flip falls, this is where things start to get messy. But it does go in the favor of Endpoint. A 3 versus 2 now. Jerry does find himself one through the edge of the smoke, though. And this is where it opens it up for them. The 2 versus 2 retake. And it's definitely a doable one for forZe.
They certainly weren't even pondering that retake until Jerry finds the double shots. You see C-Power having to hightail his way in, but the bomb is already ticking. Maybe not low, but certainly some time extinguished and demolished. Jerry does need another opening, though. Mighty Max staying silent on the A site. And there's a blind shot from the AWP. C-Power changing his mind once again and hits Mighty Max down to 1 point of health. That's so unfortunate. For Endpoint, they take an unlucky for some 13.
That's a real big shame. I'm not sure if he hit him in the leg there, maybe just connected through the corner of the box. Either way, it comes down to the absolute wire. But it was such an important round for forZe to win. A swing round where they could have closed the gap and taken the lead. And instead, Endpoint now 1 away from 14. And they're only facing up against an eco. It certainly gets dangerous. Oh my goodness, Flip, what an opener. Incredible headshot onto Crucial. But with nothing else behind them, and that M4, in fact, just completely in no man's land. You can't retrieve that weapon whatsoever. It's still going to be a very, very difficult round for them to take. Near impossible, in fact.
Flit is that one man to really watch out for. Him and C-Power will be providing the bulk of those frags to the server, and you see 20 frags thus far here on Inferno for Flit. Really sensational stuff.
Oh my goodness. So talented. His aim is absolutely pinpoint, but he can't connect onto the third of Robin, and that's now the Deagle out of play. None of those rifles, they're still unretrievable as well, as forZe are all stacked up towards this B site. Now they have the information. I hope that Endpoint tried to poke into A. C-Power is rotating over, but with only a USP in hand, maybe he does just dart over to short to try and grab one of these rifles. If he does so, though, he'll certainly meet his demise.
This is unfortunate. The spot will come, but too little too late for the rotate to play any impact of this 10th round of the half. Remember, Endpoint going now for that bomb down. They still need to clear this bomb site, but with nobody holding the impact, it's forZe through the apartments to try and do some bonus damage. An AWP even retrieved. That wasn't covered and cleaned up by Endpoint, meaning that's something to at least use in the retake, maybe even save into round number 25. AK-47's at the ready, and Endpoint do actually have a really nice crossfire here. As the pistol meets its maker, Almazer Jerry, they can both fall away. Remember, they need to keep that sniper in hand.
I think Almazer should be able to do so. He is absolutely miles away. Jerry tries to pitch in for some damage with the MAC-10. His aim there was to just try and swing around, deal some damage to the guys in the corner of the pit, and hope that they fall to the bomb. But can't do so. That's going to be a 14th in the bag for Endpoint right now. They get dangerously close to closing out this one. Of course, it's a best of one. There's no second chances for forZe if they let this slip. But now they've got the weapons to work with, and with that AWP being saved, they're certainly in a nice position.
And this would add to the string of results that Endpoint have put to their belts over the last couple of weeks. Remember, big wins in the Mountain Dew League, big victory qualifying for that DreamHack Open Fall, as we spoke about earlier, M&J. This would be another one to add to the tally. IEM Beijing, even getting to the close qualifiers. You're sure to see some hefty names as we get later into the tournament. Even for these open qualifiers, we see a bulk of teams with lots of star power, standout quality. forZe, Endpoint, both being big names of the online scene.
They absolutely are. And in terms of world rankings and such, they're very, very close. Statistically, very evenly matched team too. So certainly an exciting map. With this bomb being left behind once again, Endpoint, they've taken full banana control. This smoke not really putting them off, but an audacious peek from Mighty Max. He is going to get punished. Jerry takes him out. That smoke's going to be deployed as well. And a 2-man advantage, 50 seconds on this clock. Endpoint have to start making a move, and someone needs to make a big play and tilt the numbers in their favor. Flames wants to be that man to do so. But as this time winding away even further, this is where they have to go for the execute. The nades start to rain, and 3 defenders to hold it up. Almaze is going to find the first. He should be able to spray away for the second as well. And that's all said and done. Robin can't do anything more. He can't even fall away. He has to go back for the peak, and he is going to get crushed. forZe recover very, very nicely. Put their 11th down and look to close it up further.
Really didn't feel like Endpoint had much of a chance there. No map presence towards the A bomb site. As the smokes dropped away on B, they were pretty much forced into that one. Do or die time. 14-11 here. Endpoint still a slight advantage. Not a weapons advantage going into this one, considering it's just Glocks. A single deagle for Flames. You know that he is the one-tap king at times. You'd be expecting him to maybe find a headshot or two, do a little bit of preliminary damage to keep the forZe economy honest. This time there are just smokes placed, keeping Endpoint at bay.
You often see with a young gun fragger that they can be a little bit impatient. Sometimes their support play is not on point. That's not always the case for Flames. He's got so much initiative as a young player and the talent to back it up as well. Time and time again, we see him pushing in, throw a flash, go for a smoke, open up these frags. Really impactful player for Endpoint. I'm really excited to see how they do as well. Pushing forward in these qualifiers, actually how they do in DreamHack Open Fall as well.
This could get really dangerous, MJ.
Yeah.
There's only the one pistol towards the B bomb site, and nobody else has any sense of the defense. And with Flames now salvaging a rifle for his troubles, can toss the deagle back and use this to his advantage. And there's a run boost to try and initiate this one, giving him more of a pincer advantage, a grip on this B bomb site. And there's the boost to top it off. This headshot angle is so tough and tight to contend with. And forZe, they've been locked out momentarily. It was only the single rifle defense. And with Flames finding both of those openings, he might be the man of the moment here in round number 26. Right over the top. He's going to do even more damage. Flames, it's a quad kill. Leaving just C-Power left, and he has to peek right in as well. 1 bullet away from the ace. But more importantly, that's match point for Endpoint.
Match point at a time that they had nothing to bring into the round. That was pretty much a full eco, and the only investment was a deagle on Flames. I spent maybe a little bit too much time at the start of the last round talking about him, bigging him up, and he proves it. 24-17. An amazing 4K there just with that deagle in hand, and such a smart play as well with the lack of the smoke to go for the run boost. Incredible stuff. Now, this is where it gets dangerous for forZe. Endpoint have 4 match points, and they need to make sure that they close here. This is their best chance to do so. Almaze are only with the deagle, the MP9 in the hand of Jerry, and with Crucial finding that initial pick, Mighty Max finding one more as well. This is where it all starts to fall apart.
This could certainly be over. That's a massive mistake there. C-Power's gun barrel was spotted, and he does get taken by an incredibly patient Crucial, maybe for the 16th time. Endpoint. They're 3 players away from the victory.
3 players away from the victory, and they have very little utility left on them as well to try and defend these bomb sites. Jerry has to make a big play here. Face crack here to support. As soon as he makes contact, he will go for this swing, and Jerry actually times that peak pretty perfectly, but the flash is even better. Jerry is able to get himself that single kill, and the M4 transfer for even more damage. What the hell was that? Face crack finds 3, and now we're in a 1 versus 1 situation. Robin darting onto this bomb site. He's got plenty of time to work with, but he wants to get that C4 down as quickly as possible. He knows Flit's going to be on the other side of the map, and with this information, he can get himself a nice post-plant position and wait for this retake to come in.
Flit sneaking through, but Robin ready to receive. This angle, definitely very common. Flit should be aware that this is a possibility, but with the smoke in hand, he might just go for the solid defuse. He doesn't hold it. There's no kit inbound, no defuse kit whatsoever, and Robin just needs to rely on not making a mistake. He must have heard the jump, And there's the spray away, but Flick gets lucky. He actually finds it. I don't know if it's within time. It certainly isn't. We'll see 16 for Endpoint as they take Inferno and sweep forZe right out of the server. Impressive stuff.